Hello everybody, and I am Louise Winchester of Sacred Space, the Spiritual Business Mentor, and this is Laura Ansell, the Happiness Coach. And we're coming live from Manly, Sydney, Australia, and today we're going to be talking about lots of different things.
Yep.
The energies are extremely intense at the moment. I don't know how the community is coping out there, but I don't know if any of you are aware of in Australia there's an enormous amount of fires and threats to people's homes, and we've lost some firemen this morning, so it's very sad in Australia, and the energy is extremely intense. Like, my heart chakra absolutely cracked this morning, and at the loss of those volunteers. So today we're going to try to talk about lots of different things that have been going on this week with the energies. I did put a post out about 2020 and the coming energy of 2020. Now, there will be a lot of people talking about 2020 and plugging in the social media circuit suggestions about 2020 being a fantastic year, and to work on manifestation projects and things like that. But actually, I would suggest that you steer away from the marketing content that is Laura's got another video playing down here. That's put me off.
We're recording from all angles because everyone needs to hear this.
Yeah, okay. So this put me right off my channel.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Maybe up that way would be better.
Okay.
So anyway, going back to what's going to be happening in 2020 is the lead up to 2020. The energy is really pushing us into a new level, and a couple of years ago I felt like the Lightworkers were going to come together in pockets or pods in order to hold the energy, and I think Lightworkers are very used to working single-handedly or alone in order to serve with their light, and I get this sense of more of us coming together to work on community-based projects and the like, and a need for us to network and connect on a level where we utilize each other's gifts and talents and skill sets in order to serve humanity in the coming decade. And so with the energy at the moment, I've felt a lot of there's different pockets of energy bubbling. So with Christmas always comes and the gates, which is the 12th, the 21st, and so we've got a solstice coming. So we've got we've had the 12-12 gate. We're on the 21st gate coming up in a few days' time. So that's where the intensity is really building in us energetically, and we're being cracked open on every level. And there is then the 31st as we shift into the new year.
Yeah.
And Christmas is always synonymous with spending time reflecting, and there is a lot of energy to reflect back on the people we've lost, the people that are still with us, the things that we've done, the things that we've achieved, the things that we can actually have gratitude in our hearts for, looking at the lessons that we've been through, and really diving deep back into where we feel that we can align ourselves with energetically for the future. But this is more amplified when you do a transit into another decade. So if you look back at 10 years ago and what you were doing back then versus everything that you've learnt in that period of time, and where on earth you think that you can position your energy for the future, there are some key fundamental questions to ask yourself about what it is that you can, how you can dial into getting your heart's wisdom to pull through that information. And so I created a post on www.louisewinchester.com in the blog section, and I've created a blog archive now, so that'll help everybody, because blogs just disappear after there's 10. The information is lost. And I do intend to put quite a lot of metaphysics information up there in the future. So I've created an archive if anybody's interested in reading. So anyway, in this 2020 post, I talk about how to dial in, and I also talk about the types of individuals, the calling of light workers that we need for the next generation. And the next generation are the ones that are very, very young now.
Yeah.
So the babies that are being born now, and the ones that are probably about 10 years old. In 10 years time, 10, 15, 20 years time, all this wisdom and knowledge, all the esoteric knowledge, all the ascension energy that we're going through, we have to pass that knowledge and information onto them. But there's also a whole batch of other individuals that are needed to support Mother Nature, the planet, Terra. Yes, I know. And I'd just like to read this out so that I can explain what it is that so if there's anybody out there that doesn't really know what it is that they want to apply themselves to, there are, the second wave light workers. There are light workers who haven't actually become light workers yet, and there are people that have done spiritual work on themselves that are looking at spiritual careers but don't necessarily, some people will make it and some people won't make it, because it depends on whether you are going into it from a non-egoic space of service. This is crucial. So if you want to set up yourself in a spiritual business, it's not about a get rich quick scheme or following some marketing funnel that's like tricking you into thinking that they have got the magic pill or the magic solution that's just you're gonna live this life of complete abundance.
Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I am talking.
Are you going to go into that? Is that what you're going to go into?
Well,
there's a lot of that out there, and it really...
Yes, okay. So there is a lot of distracting marketing material out there on the internet at the moment. And it's not that, I suppose, it bothers me. It's just that it's taking you off of the track of where to focus your energy. Now, when it comes to spiritual work, you can't beat actually having a teacher that is walking the talk and doing the work, holding your hand as you go through the levels of teaching.
Yeah.
It's very important to align yourself with people that are really doing this, and not people that are just putting out a post that tells you a bit about astrology or some crumb of information. Because if you work with a master of their field and you are wanting to learn what it is that, you'll pay quite a lot of money to do that work. So spending $1,000 or $2,000 on a quick funnel course in order to become what you think you're going to become actually probably won't get you there. You need to spend time with who it is that you need to spend time with their energy, with them guiding you, with them teaching and passing on the knowledge. Yep. Would you agree?
Yeah. I think something that I've learned with clients over the years is that and I think coaches do this, they kind of make the student need the teacher in order to carry on. Like it becomes like these students can't make decisions without speaking to someone first, and that stops them from going into their intuition and following their own light and their own guidance, and they become needy but it sort of becomes well, you need to pay me more in order to get higher, you need to pay me more, and it doesn't have to be like that. Even when I get people that come to me and ask me questions and I know they already know the answer, I'll tell them, well, what do you think? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, well, there we go, that's it. because you don't need anyone to tell you what you already know. And I think it's, as a healer, a teacher, a master, if someone knows what they're doing, they're going to allow you to stay in your power and not take it from you. I think that's what it is. It's taking someone's power and saying, you need me in order to get higher. And you spend more money and more money and more money with me in order to keep going up, and that's just not the case.
There's a few things that I did when I put together my training program, and there's a few things that grate on me as a, I suppose the right word for it is more of an old school kind of hidden teacher. My generation is, we don't like stepping forward, and we don't like putting ourselves out there from a sales pitch perspective.
Yeah.
And I've had to break through quite a lot of barriers around that, but the way that I've engineered my own site for my students is it doesn't have a big front up, you've got to sign here to get this information. It doesn't have lead magnets that sort of say this is your freebie, and then the next step is for you to spend thousands. Like and I've tried to put in there all the content that they actually need and give them the support that they actually need. So our message with all of the people that work at a front end level with the general public here is that don't forget there are still people in your local community near you, just because you've got a device and just because you've got your phone there, that can help and support you and teach you what you need to know. It doesn't all have to be just click on your phone and then instantly you've spent $2,000 and you're going to become blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to hold the energy. You won't be able to, it doesn't give you all the skills. There are a lot of modalities out there that don't teach you all the business skills that you need. So this is the message from my entire team too, is just have some discernment about who you're getting involved with these online courses and what you're being taught. And I urge anybody to speak to me if they want to actually step into having a spiritual business, because there's a lot of steps involved in doing it. So it's not for the faint of heart. And okay, so these are the types of individuals that we really need for the next 10 years, at least, and beyond, I've put. Okay, so we need motivational thought leaders who are clear channels to communicate the wisdom of spirit. So these are people that have their auditory channel, and they're writers, but they're also public speakers that can speak the words of spirit. You're fantastic at it.
Thank you.
So is Frank J. Yeah. I must say. We need, I must mention, because she's just popped in, Sheila B.
Amazing.
She is really going great guns, and she has a deep level of heart-based service for people wanting to develop their psychic abilities for themselves to navigate in life. So we need caregivers that shine their empathetic, transmutative light and happy demeanor to those who are suffering. There is a lot of suffering in the world, and there will be more and more suffering because it opens the heart chakra. It brings people together. There are communities of people donating blankets and rooms in their houses, and it brings community together. So what breaks us makes us stronger and brings us together and unites us. We need readers of potential realities to assist humanity with spiritual guidance. We need transmuters of astral interference. There's so much of that.
Yeah.
Been working on that my entire life. We need timeline engineers to work for the greater good on rewiring consciousness, timelines and reality. So these are your quantum kinetics masters and kinesiologists rewiring consciousness, and also people like Laura who are doing taking you into your Akashic in order to rewrite events through time. Okay, which is absolutely fascinating. It's my favorite favorite thing to be working on, especially on myself. Okay, we need writers and music creators to channel the celestial frequencies and knowledge into our realm. Don't forget, we're on Earth, even though most of us have lifetimes where we haven't had to live here. So
good times.
Hi Claire. Good morning to you too. We need earth keepers that can steer and create sustainable living and communities. I spent 2 years studying sustainability and climate change, and we do have a massive global problem that needs to be addressed. And there are solutions. The engineers have already come up with the solutions, and part of the problem is somebody needs to drive these politicians into these sustainability initiatives. It's not that hard. We just need to shift off of fossil fuel based companies which are ruining and polluting our planet. We need earth keepers that can steer and create sustainable living. So I've just said that. We need alternative technologists that can drive changes in resource consumption. Totally. I was one of those. We need a new wave of corporate change makers that can redesign, hang on, page 10, the political system and institutional systems with innovation from within. And this is also, how we break down the medical profession. The medical profession needs an absolutely massive overhaul. And I know that there's going to be indigos that have got to go up against that hierarchical.
I'm excited about that. It's in the future, but I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. There are already a lot of women in the education system that have, Susan Rudd is probably one of them that I can think of right now, who brings her light as a school teacher and my teacher as a higher self teacher into the school environment to bring the light out in the children right now. So, okay. So at this turning point that we're at, just before we move into the next 10 years, it's time to recalibrate your being. It's time to spend time in contemplation. It's time to ask yourself the following questions as you transit into this next decade. What do you want to become? If you're a light worker or you have the capacity and your heart is open and you're spiritual and you want to help in some way, we have to help where we're coming from a place of not just being spiritual. It's like we've got to become conscious on every level of the resources we're using and how we can come together in order to serve humanity for the future, where we pool our resources, not just, it's a bit like pool car. We've got to come together in pods of light workers in order to serve humanity on a whole other level. So even though I created Sacred Space and I've got a whole team around me, this kind of environment open to the general public is very rare.
Yeah.
It's very, and it's not easy to hold it. And I feel like I've been carrying the torch. Yes, I've got my team, but almost like as a single-handedly pioneer trying to serve the general public. And now it's time to actually move that up to another level where this should be multiplied. This should be in other places, or it should be reinvented into a formula that works so that more pockets of spiritual identity and light can come into the earth plane so that we can literally hold the frequency of the new earth, and that's going to come out in many different formulas. And anyway, so ask yourself these questions. What do you want to become? What will you do for the earth and humanity? Who will you serve? What's in your heart of hearts to achieve? What is the passion that fuels you? that's one of the biggest keys, because the passion is what you're a master through your past lives. What you've mastered in the past is going to be replaying through your energy. So you've really got to dial into exactly what like switches all the light on in your energy. What are you passionate about? Because that is totally where you've got to align your energy. What is the wisdom that you hold? And I've got to say the word unique wisdom, because we are all like, we absorb the energy of our teachers and what the teachers teach us, and then we become what we truly are. And in that, we step through into a resonance of authenticity that must be then held and communicated out to others. What is your legacy? Because we're only here for a
short time.
Blip.
Doesn't feel like it when you're in it, but it is a blip.
And this is why, in my heart of hearts, I wrote out a list of the next 10 years of all the things that I want to write, because like inside of me is a writing channel. I could spend all day just as a hermit cat writing about stuff. So, but unfortunately, I have to be here as well, and I have to operate in the world. Okay, so what's your legacy? What is it you actually want to leave behind? What is the core of your purpose, and what will you decide to commit yourself to fully? And who do you need to align yourself with in order to accomplish your mission? And then you need to put all those intentions, write it all out, get really clear. This is really important, because the next 10 years, this is like a turning. They're showing me a box with a turning of the wheel of fortune, and then a click, push the button down, and away we go. So it's almost like the universe is saying right now that it's waiting for our wishes and our intentions to be set. And this is really important that you dive in some time right now and spend some time working on this, more than any other year, they're saying to me. Because it's almost like it sets the stage for what timelines can be like. It's almost like, okay, we've heard your instructions, and now we're going to put you over there to pick up that timeline, and that person's getting allocated over there, and that person's getting allocated over there. Did you lose the recording?
Yeah, someone's ringing me.
Okay.
And if you do feel stuck at the moment, that's probably why. I've got a lot of clients saying they feel a bit stuck, and it's because they haven't set the intention of where they want to go. That piece. Because a lot of people that tell me they're stuck are the ones that aren't fully in their mission yet. They're about to begin it. You need to set the intention of where you want to be so that you can move it forward. You've got to get really clear on that, and you've got to make changes in your life today to be able to accomplish it, but to be able to let it in and align it. Some people are not taking action yet.
Yeah, I talk about that in this article. I talk about the ones that are sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, they're just like...
So I urge you to not get distracted right now, excuse me, with social media and all the demands of everything that's going on around you. You've got to spend some time. And I actually find that one of the best places to start bringing in information is when you get in the bath. I've been channeling for years as soon as I get in the bath. And then when you get out, it's like your inner self, your inner wisdom, your inner guidance system kicks in, and just start writing everything that it is that it's saying to you, thinking about, talking about, doing and acting on, if you have a block to actually bringing that in.
Someone give you a...
Maybe we should look.
I channel Marina.
Do you?
Yeah, so through the sand, through the sea. I guess it's the water and the earth element, isn't it?
It is. I couldn't agree more. Hello, Michelle. Yes, you've written your intentions down. And you're a light worker, aren't you? You've just stepped up into holding the energy in, like, or trying to create being of service in your world, I think. Okay, so I think we might be like done on my rant about 2020.
We have time to go over crystals.
We do.
Yeah.
So first puppy off the rank is I want to talk about seahorse. So she's got it in her hand. I'll just show people. There he is, right there. This little baby was on the shelf calling out to me this morning. Ever so cute.
And now he's calling out to me.
Seahorses are most beautiful little androgynous creatures. I believe the male has babies.
Mm-hmm.
And so in our energy field at the moment is we're getting a lot of shadow projections that kind of come up in different family members. Christmas is the time for almost like the dark side of the family members to like reveal themselves and show themselves, and they're just the aspects of an individual that they haven't got control over.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
We could talk about the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So the shadow self, or my shadow as someone might refer to it as, is like some aspect of themselves that they haven't unified yet. They haven't gone down into why that particular loop or behavior pattern or issue is running. And I have a few different people that work and specialize in that reprogramming side of things. So if anybody needs any help and they're aware of stuff that they want to shift, and the ascension process is always like really that's what you do. It's all about diving down and seeing what it is that's a program that's like sabotaging yourself or sabotaging your reality in order to move to the next level.
Yeah, you bring it back home to yourself. You put light on it, right? It's like a splinter. It's like the splintered self. So you're just putting light on it, bringing it home to you, healing it, bringing it home.
Yes. Well, master of doing that, aren't you?
Many years of doing that. Which is my favourite.
Okay, so where was I? The shadow self. Now, one of the things that was coming up this week that I was going to talk about was everybody's heard of the shadow, the black shadow. What about the white shadow? Right. So the first person that ever taught me about the white shadow was Stuart Wilde. God bless him. Who absolutely lost the plot. He was the father of metaphysics and his books are superb. There's a few in the tail end of his life that are not so great. And he lost the plot because he started to do hundreds of ayahuasca ceremonies, and I am not a fan of going off and frying your consciousness with ayahuasca. I think it's good for people who may go into an environment with the actual natives to do clearing when you have serious health problems or cancer or some incurable disease, but I'm not an advocate for blowing your consciousness open in the environment of having lots of other people in the room, because energy jumps from one side to the other and interdimensional interference will jump from one side to the other. So anyway, going back to Stuart and the white shadow. White shadow is really something that we see in the spiritual industry, and I'm sure you can see it in general individuals as well. White shadow can represent as a level of multiple different faces to it. So white shadow is extreme vanity and the need to, put on, like, manipulate yourself to the point where you're worried, your energy is feeding off of the energy of what others give you in compliments, or I don't know what the right word for it is, but like it
feeds the ego.
Yeah, but it feeds the energy, so it's almost like the projection of putting yourself out like that. At some point, you're actually going to come off the ivory tower and your ego is going to get destroyed. So there is some part of you that needs that attention, that needs to be addressed and looked at and dived into. I think it's great if you can, like, we all have a certain level of appearance, but if you've got the need to present yourself in a certain way, there's an aspect or an element of white shadow hidden in there. So that's something to look at. Now, the biggest way that I see white shadow is a projection from someone who is whiter than white. Wouldn't you say? So it does come up in the spiritual industry. I have seen it quite a lot over the years. And Stuart, as I said, Stuart Wilde was the first one that identified to me what white shadow is.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of some better examples. Yeah. Have you got any examples of seeing white shadow?
Only in people that people know of, and I don't want to say.
I would say, okay, this is an example. When people in the industry are talking about other people in the industry, and they're in that sort of gossip or bitching mode, that is a weaving of white shadow at play. And I always say to people, when you see white shadow, it's deadlier than the dark shadow
because it's disguised as
a white. So there we go, like, you know, wolf in sheep's clothing is the phrase that they just identified to me. Yeah. So, you know, and discernment is really important. So cutting away people that, you know, really say or project when you're in a place of vulnerability or suffering, and then they start projecting shadow at you, like, question whether you actually need this person around or in your life, or are you done with that, and don't be afraid to actually gracefully step out the side door by reducing how much time you invest in talking to them, and gradually they'll dissipate and fall away. If you react and have a go back, that's your own unprocessed shadow projection. So I thought it was a good little topic to talk about today. We were back to seahorse, weren't we?
Yeah.
So the energy is actually going through the ascension energy, the light, is trying to recalibrate aspects of sacral chakra at the moment.
I did a sacral chakra thing yesterday.
And our heart chakra at the same time. So that's why, you know, we're seeing through reality the lens of social media, or the media at the moment. We're seeing all this suffering, which is breaking our hearts, and we're also seeing in our reality the shadow projections, which we are having to hold our light through and recalibrate, which is all connected to the sacral chakra. And seahorse energy is also connected to bringing more unification in your own power, in your own female lines of force, in your own male lines of force, so you can hold this energy and step up into the next level of whatever it is that you're choosing to do. So I've got some crystal frequencies right in front of me, and all of these are ones which support. So I've kind of got to go here and here. We've got two cameras running simultaneously. Before I go on, does anybody have any questions about what I was just talking about? Let's just see.
It's funny, you know, just because someone works as a healer, it doesn't necessarily make them pure. I had some people recently come to me who've had that experience, where they think someone's, because they work in the light or they work in this industry, that they know what they're talking about and that they have your best interest at heart, and that they're gonna, but it's not always the case. You have to really use discernment.
You do have to use discernment, and I'm going to now talk, because that's just unlocked the door, on one of the subjects that I wanted to discuss, which I wasn't sure whether I was brave enough to talk about.
But now we know you are.
Okay, so here goes. Traditionally, there has been, in the past, there has been, and I don't want to categorize or lock down, but the whole guru environment or sensei of I suppose, you know, somebody who you go to an event and you have to get on your knees to like go and speak to this or sit in front of this person that's on a cushion.
Pedestal.
Sorry, on a throne and you're on the cushion, or you're on your knees addressing them on the floor, or you have to pay homage, or you have to speak publicly about how amazing this event or experience has been, is really not that spiritual. It's quite dark, I believe.
There's still ego in it, and it's still separation in it. That's the main thing. It's saying I know more than you.
Yes.
Which is not true. We're all one. That's what we teach.
Well, it's about becoming one, becoming in alignment with what your real purpose is, what you're here to do and achieve, how you're here to serve others, and uniting with others that are of like mind, and serving the earth as well as yourself, not just consuming. And I don't know, some of the older versions of ways of passing on spiritual energy or spirituality are not brilliant. So I urge you to stay out of, or get out of, situations where you've got someone who you're sort of in this subservient energy, or this like worshipping or honoring, or like the last thing I've ever wanted is any of the people that come through Sacred Space to sort of put me on a pedestal, because that isn't what my energy is about. It's just about being and holding and loving and serving. Yeah.
Yep.
So if somebody's not like that, then get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Run. Don't walk.
Run. Yes. No, don't run. Just gracefully step out the side door, because otherwise you can get this like psychic attack backdraft.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk about some crystal frequencies that might help and support you right now. I'll just talk about these two, which I've spoken about before. So this is smoky quartz right here. This is a beautiful AAA grade smoky dark crystal. So smoky quartz is the main crystal for negative thoughts and negative thinking and reprogramming your consciousness. And seeing as the energy is yo-yoing up and down and left and right and all over the place, it's an emotional roller coaster right now on every level. Smoky quartz would be a great one to, like, I should probably put this in on my person today. This one here is blue lace agate. I'll just show you guys over there. So blue lace agate is the main emotional body healer. It has all these bands in it, and this is just helping us to dissipate the energetic charge of what's stored in our cellular memory, so that it can be rolled up and transmuted to the light. This is a fabulous calming crystal, and we all need to stay calm and not freak the hell out, because we are freaking out. All of us are freaking out. Okay, then I've got, so there is a lot of births and deaths happening right now in this window, this gate at the end of the year. And there are a lot of people that are having to hold space with that. And I don't have an example of it on the table, but Apache Tears. Hello, Penelope. Apache Tears is a black crystal. I think it's a fantastic crystal to for women to actually, I would say, put in with your airbags. It turns down the dial of the intensity of the emotions that are surging through your system. It's the main grief crystal, and it just helps you to hold yourself together as you hold space for others.
Yeah.
And I wish I had some on me, because I can feel a lot of grief. I had a dream last night, and it was full on was full on about these fires. So there is a lot of collective fear energy happening as people are actually experiencing a lot of suffering and a lot of fear, and a lot of, there are people here that have died overnight, and so it's very, very sad. So Apache tears might be useful for like the empathetic impact of witnessing all this suffering as well. I'm going to show you one which is completely out there, this piece. Okay, here he is here. This is a really, really powerful energy. Okay, so this is a rose quartz crystal skull, and then a flame cut crystal underneath. It's actually a pendant, it spins. It's beautiful. Crystal skulls, I don't know if anybody has got one out there, but if you're, they're predominantly used for healing others, especially rose quartz. It's fantastic to sit and channel with rose quartz crystal skull. And if you turn a crystal skull towards you, you're healing yourself. So you can take your consciousness into the skull and then use the skull's energy to radiate back through you. And it's almost like having your own healer on tap to work on you. Mm-hmm. And then if you're working with others, you would turn the crystal skull, face it out, and beam that at the energy. And it's almost like the crystal skull will do the work. You just have to hold the channel open and hold the light. And so if you've got other people that you are sending healing to right now, rose quartz crystal skull, and I've got a whopper in the cabinet. I'll just get my keys and show you what a really good one looks like.
Is it the blue one?
No, I've got a massive one. So if you're wanting to send really good intentions and healing to others, here he is here. I say he, but
it's a he.
So this is a massive crystal skull, and if you want to send intensified love and compassion and healing to those that are suffering right now, you would open to channel. You would take your consciousness into your heart. You would breathe in and out of your heart. You go into the crystal skull, and I recommend the rose quartz crystal skull, and then you beam it out through the crystal skull at the like the quantum projection of what your intention is, of what you want to send healing to. And rose quartz crystal skulls, you might find that you get a couple of beings that come in behind you, which are goddess energies. So the goddess energies that, I'm just pointing back over here, the goddess energies, I'm reminded, the goddess energies that come in are Mother Mary and Kuan Yin. So you have Mother Mary's energy of, it's almost like, I always get the nuns and Mother Teresa as well when I work with a rose quartz crystal skull. It's I haven't actually got the words for it when I'm looking at it. It's not the nursing, it's the, like, they're showing me call the midwife. It's like, and they're showing me like a church where the nurse, the nuns used to actually be the physicians. They used to be the doctors. Mm-hmm. So yeah. That's the energy that comes through from the left, and Kuan Yin's compassion and care. I'm just getting so much like churchy energy coming through. But anyway, those sort of lines of healing where the women who were devoted to spiritual energy, used to hold space and care for the sick. So this is what you would do if you want to actually send out some healing light to different pockets of community or areas as a light worker and send them healing light. You just need to try to bring through some of the goddess frequencies, the master energies of healing. So, or to people that are in your own family, you might need. Okay, so a couple of other crystal frequencies that are really relevant right now are...
I'm running out of batteries now.
Okay, you're running out of battery, are you?
Yeah, we're both on.
Okay, hopefully we can stay on the... This is a incredible Egyptian design piece. So the Ankh is the master through lifetimes. It's sanctuary, and then the Kundalini is the energy, so this is the transmutation through the DNA and the RNA through the physical vehicle, and then the ruby is the life force and vitality that we need in order to hold our light. So here's another example of a ruby and an angel or a piece. So ruby's really good because we're all in that, we're balancing that heart chakra in our like sacral area. Unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
So the heart chakra is moving to anchor more unconditional love, more levels of service, and rhodonite. This is rhodonite. Is another one that's in the category near the rose quartz, and about unconditional love. Now, unconditional love does have a few boundaries to be still. It doesn't mean to say just because someone acts a certain way, we should just be unconditional about that. I think it's healthy to have good boundaries around what's wrong and right behaviour. But anyway, Petalite, this one came in earlier. This is another pink crystal. And Petalite was saying to me that chakra tears in the heart chakra, which can occur in relationship breakup, is this is the main crystal for trying to heal, not a broken heart, because that's different. And I would recommend that you use rose quartz for a broken heart. This is actually for a chakra tear, which is a dimensional tear in your heart chakra.
I'm just seeing the little meme that I sent you.
And it is literally, when you, if it is like an opening like that, that you can physically feel, because it's so intense, and sometimes it can drag you into like astral energy at night because it's open and it's not sealed, and it's some dimension of self that's going into another pocket of existence. And it's usually very difficult to fix a heart chakra tear, and it's like you need to go and see a light worker when you've got one. I tend to blow my third eye chakra once in a while. So anyway, Petalite is for chakra tears in the heart chakra. And then kunzite, pink kunzite, which is in the beryl family. That is a crystal which is for it's like a programmer to bring in the love of a life partner that you want to spend your life with, and transmuting any of your programming that is limiting you from being able to receive that in the heart. There are other ones that go into other chakras, but that's mainly about receiving love. But if you're unified in your heart, it's not necessarily about receiving love in order to bring in that relationship, I suppose is the right word for it. And another one, this one here, this some of you might know, I usually wearing a magenta pink ring like this one, And this is about rubellite. Sorry, this crystal here is a pink tourmaline, but it's a rarer form of pink tourmaline. And I've got another example of it here. See, I don't just have everything on tap. I've only got one tiny, tiny little crystal of it here. Rubellite is an expensive and a dear crystal, especially if it's gem grade. So this is a not too expensive version right here that you can work with. And there's a better picture of it. Rubellite is all about being of service to others. So I would say it's a Lightworker crystal for what energy they put out into the world. That's why I'm usually wearing it here. It just needs a repair. It's so worn out, my one. I've been wearing my one for about 7 years, and it needs some silver. Needs to have a holiday and have some. So do I.
So do you.
And it needs some repair. So anyway, rubellite is, I can feel my channels just starting to go. I've almost had enough. I've got one more thing to speak about. This is when I can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
It is tourmaline. So this is a watermelon tourmaline. So it goes from pink into a sort of yellowy colour and into a greeny colour. And sometimes you see them like discs like this, where it's green on the outside and it goes into pink in the middle. And I would say that is the main crystal for when you actually move from studying modalities into becoming the light worker and being of service to others. It's definitely one you should give your initiates.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It is, but just a disc of it.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I went through all my initiations that what happens is originally you start I'm going to talk about something really deep now because this is what's just popped in. The heart chakra. The heart chakra is not just a one-dimensional chakra, okay? So it's not just pink. It goes through phases where as it pops like a soap bubble into the next dimension, it moves into a level of service where you're serving other people with your wisdom and your knowledge and your light, and then it will pop in through another layer and another layer. There are 4 chambers to the heart chakra, and I was taught years ago that there are 3 chambers through the heart, and then my higher self actually showed me, no, there's not. So there's 4 chambers, sorry, I've got 4 chambers, and I won't explain to you what the second 2 chambers are, what they do and what colours they are in frequencies when you get in there, but I will tell you how you access it in a moment. And the higher self said to me that the reason why there's 4 chambers, 4-dimensional chambers to the heart chakra, they said, well, of course there's not 3, it's a 4-valved organ.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
And I went, okay.
All right.
It's the only organ that has multiple chambers to it, I believe.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there's 4 chambers, not 3. I don't know of anybody else that's ever spoken about this or knows about this, but the way that you access the heart chakra in meditation in order to access the different dimensions of your heart chakra is to listen to the sound of a frog. So if you can get hold of just that little croaking noise that they come out with and sit in meditation and channel and sit with the energy, eventually you will pop through into the different dimensions of your heart chakra.
I like that.
You don't need anything else.
I'm going to do that.
Just yourself.
And a frog.
And a frog. I know, it's bizarre. I don't know why it's the way it is, but anyway, I can only tell you how to get there. I can't get you there. You have to get yourself there. Okay.
It's 10 o'clock. You have to open your shop.
I do. Wow, this was a long one.
But
okay.
if you have time for it.
Let's have a look. in hydro quartz. I'm a little obsessed. Okay, Penelope, I'm going to put that on ice. I know what it is, but I need to actually open the shop, and I will remember it for next time. So we will be back on in 2 weeks. Can you just please pull up the date? So we will be back on the 3rd of January by the look of it. Just flick it again.
Oh.
3rd of January?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. 3rd of January, 9 a.m. We will be back online. Hope you had an interesting discussion with us. I invite you guys to ask more questions and tell me what you would like to know about, what you would be interested in hearing about, and we wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. I'm not a singer, as you can see. And if you're passing by, please come and check out Sacred Space. Have a session if you need one. We have a whole team here.
Yeah, great team.
And we wish you all very well. And good luck with surfing the Ascension energy. Thank you everyone for watching. We love you all.
You do. Oh, hot.
I know. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, bye-bye.